the dawn of my channel, there is one movie that I have been asked about the most. So many people request that I just speak about this film, and I have been dodging it like nothing else. And it might not be for the reasons you think. After all, this is a horror channel, and you guys know I kind of specialize in disturbing movies. So if you're offended by disturbing content, you're obviously in the wrong place. But on that, there are definitely exceptions to this rule, i.e. movies like street trash, just movies that don't really offer any meaning, any substance, or any soul for those terrifying, disturbing, crossing the line scenes. I definitely need something behind them to justify them. I'm very big on justification in films, and I'm very big on films having a meaning, a backbone, and especially a soul. I talk about that a lot. So I'm not into films that just push the boundary for the sake of pushing the boundary. But I digress. This is actually not the reason I'm scared to talk about this film. The reason is because I really like this film. And I think that there is more to it than meets the eye. But hold up, wait. Before you type that, this is not a film that I would say by any means I enjoyed watching. This film still made me sick to my stomach. Watching it for a second time was an effort, let me tell you. But I want to give you some whys in this kind of argument video about why this film does have a backbone, a structure, a message. But most importantly, I want you guys down in the comments to let me know what you think about this film. Keep it friendly, guys. Everyone has their own opinion and is entitled to that. I just really want to know what you guys get out of this film. Warning, there will be spoilers because I'm not going to walk you through the ins and outs of this film. I expect you to see it because it is really important that you know this film in its true context. And I think that's what a lot of people miss with really disturbing content. They know that there's a certain scene and they just want to avoid it fully, but what they are missing out is the context of the film, and I think that's really important. So I'm not going to spell this film out for you. I'm just going to talk about the elements within it. So it is important that you watch it beforehand, but even more of a warning, if you think you might not be able to handle this film, don't watch it. Seriously, it is not worth it if you can't handle that kind of disturbing content. It will make you want to have a shower and cry, I promise you that, and it's definitely a film that you can't unsee. This film is a debut by a Serbian director, I'm not going to attempt that name, who would go on 2 years later to direct a segment in the ABCs of Death, which is a much loved anthology horror movie. The film takes the unique perspective of a retired male porn star who was offered a large amount of money to make one final film to set his family up for life. But a requirement of this is that he doesn't know anything about the film, which is sold to him as an art house film, but ends up featuring extremely disturbing content, including necrophilia and pedophilia, making it one of the most disturbing, or if not the most disturbing snuff films of all time. The film utilizes the main character Milo and his ex-porn star background. The fact that male porn stars are very rare because it is hard to stay erect for filming for that long, but also particularly his background because he's able to stay erect for anything. But it also dodges any ill will you have for the protagonist, if you want to call him that, Milo, when they introduce drugs into the situation. But beneath it all, this film actually has a strong purpose that you don't see coming. It's about jealousy and the ultimate betrayal. Because of Milo's background, he has a complicated relationship with everyone around him. Definitely not glamorizing the porn star, ex-porn star life by any means. His child is exposed to mature themes. His brother is jealous and screwed up. And his wife, in my eyes, the strongest character of the film. Ultimately, his relationship with her and his complicated past ends in her demise. I draw a lot of parallels from Oldboy to this film. It's the way the film's set up. The story reveals all the clues, yet the audience is so blind to the obvious. There's not many characters and you've been introduced to them all. The reveal of the film is evident the whole time, but the controversial scenes and themes distract the viewer from who is the villain the whole time, and it's in front of you. So in my head, this isn't a gore, torture porn, snuff horror film. This is a true psychological piece that is distorted by its extreme scenes. Further evidence of this is when Milo blacks out and he he is recounting the events that happened during his sexual drug-fueled murder rampage. The scenes where he recounts the night before in flashbacks are similar to those in psychological crossover films such as Fight Club, The Sixth Sense, and Memento. The film also utilizes one of the most personal internal experiences a human can have, a nightmare, and that is foreshadowing that scene. And speaking of that scene, yes, I have been tiptoeing around those scenes because, for one, obviously I don't condone them, but I do think that people who haven't seen the film definitely take them out of context. I'm gonna tell you straight, the baby scene, the protagonist is disgusted about what he sees, and the fact that you don't actually even see what he sees, it is insinuated. It's also him watching it happen on a screen, which I don't think is put into context with anyone who hasn't seen it. Being said, it's still the most disgusting thing I've probably ever seen in a movie, but I feel like the way it's set up is done intentionally to still create that barrier between him seeing it in person, so that audience has that extra layer and that extra step back. Although this film crosses many lines, it does know when to fucking stop. But the things that cannot be argued, the technical aspects of this film. The film's set design, particularly on set, is visually appealing, grungy yet slick. The film utilizes minimalism, giving the audience no other place to look or focus on. You are unable to hide from the brutality, and the color grading is slightly contrasted with a feathered vignette, which makes reality bleed into the nightmare until they become one. Don't get me wrong, at the end of this film, I felt sick. I feel disgusted. But this film pushes the audience to give them the most intense experience of the greatest betrayal of all time. So much so that there is nowhere left to turn. This film cannot be touched, repeated, or outdone. 8 out of 10 from me. Let me know what you guys thought down below. I did it, guys. I did it. I'll talk to you later. Bye. I'm gonna go have a shower.